Libyan rebels and forces loyal to Moammar Gadhafi traded fire Thursday as the rebels tried to regroup after a hectic retreat. Pentagon officials estimate a NATO bombing campaign has degraded the Libyan military, but loyalist forces are still not close to the breaking point. U.S. Defense Secretary Robert Gates.
Deposing the Gadhafi regime, as welcome as that eventuality would be, is not part of the military mission. In my view, the removal of Colonel Gadhafi will likely be achieved over time through political and economic measures and by his own people.
Gates' testimony before Congress came as U.S. media reported that the CIA has sent teams into Libya to help the rebels. Reports say operatives are gathering intelligence for airstrikes and to make contact with rebel groups trying to oust Mr. Gadhafi.
I can't speak to any CIA activities, but I will tell you that the President has been quite clear that in terms of the United States military, there will be no boots on the ground.
The Pentagon estimates the Libyan government has 15,000 to 20,000 troops, while the rebels have about 1,000 fighters with military training. Some members of Congress are concerned they were not consulted about the decision to attack Libya and asked Secretary Gates to define a successful mission there.
I think a policy success would be the removal of the Gadhafi regime and at least the beginnings of the emergence of a more or less democratic government in Tripoli.
Gates says as NATO takes complete control of operations over Libya, the U.S. military will significantly reduce its presence. There have been calls to train the lightly armed rebels and supply them with weapons, but Gates says that type of support should come from another country.
If there is going to be that kind of assistance to the opposition, there are plenty of sources for it other than the United States.
Gates' comments came as Mr. Gadhafi's soldiers struck back at the rebels this week, recapturing lost ground and triggering calls for help from battered opposition forces. Meredith Buel, VOA News, Washington.